Earthquakes. Yeah, the camera's not working. So I don't know why the camera's not working. That's annoying. But that's okay. I'll figure it out some other time. I'll figure it out some other time. So for some reason the camera's not working. But maybe somebody will join into the YouTube and tell me if it's actually working or not. And usually I go up there and I sort of help out with the help out with the harvest. I move stuff around when people tell me to move stuff around. And this year, with the earthquake, usually I drive up through Taroko Gorge. And driving up through Taroko Gorge is so beautiful. Like, it's just so amazing. But unfortunately, at the moment, nope. Too many rock slides and earthquakey type things, so I can't go. But this stuff is from May 7th, 8th, and 11th. Well, actually, these are 8 and 11. We'll talk about why I didn't do the 7th. Now, the way it works is my buddy up there knows me, he trusts me, and he sends me the absolute days. He sends me a little package, right? So don't tell me what it is. Don't tell me what it is. I'm not going to look. But he sends me a package like this, and on the package, I try to do blind tasting after I tried them the first time. But he sends me actually the day of the harvest. So he's got enough sort of area that he does about 4 or 5 days of harvests. And so the first day, they do an oolong. The second day, an oolong. The third day, they do a more heavily oxidized, sort of mid-oxidized oolong. And that is charcoal roasted over the summertime. And then he sells some of it to people like me, but then he keeps most of it as like basically his, it's an investment for him. And then in another couple of days. So in total, there's about usually between 4 and 6 days, depending on the harvest and how big the harvest is. Now, the red wooey is in the light oolong section. I didn't know if that was intentional, so I wanted to let you know. Hey, thank you very much. That's not intentional. So what I probably did was with that one, can see and hear you just fine over here. Hey, awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much for telling me. So YouTube is okay, I guess. I just, for some reason, it's not showing me, but that's wonderful. Thank you for letting me know. And also thank you for letting me know that because the roasted red wheat should be in the light section, or should not be in the light section. It's a roasted. So thank you for letting me know. It's generally speaking a one-man show for things like that. So I make mistakes. So thank you. I will change it as soon as the live stream is done. Red wooey is light. Ooh. Back to Pear Mountain. What makes Pear Mountain so special? The thing that makes Pear Mountain so special is, and this is, sort of the holographic universe thing. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a holographic universe thing. So when you go to about 2,000 meters, anything above 2,000 meters in Taiwan, the tea plant dies. Anything less than 2,000 meters, it sort of survives. Now, there are exceptions. There are places where you can get a little bit of tea that grows higher, but those are extremely rare places. And in Taiwan, they've actually gone and killed most of them. We can get into that. If people have questions about Dayuling and what happened with Dayuling in the past and things like that, just let me know. I can talk about that, do a big old thing. We're talking about Pear Mountain right now. Now, anything above 2,000 meters, it really is tough. But here's the best way to think about it, the best possible way to think about it. The more stressed out a tea plant is, the more interesting phytochemicals and flavor profiles are going to come out of the tea that's made. Just a general rule. If you have a tea and the tea is covered in pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, it grows up really nice, it's super happy, it's going to be a boring tea. If you have a tea that's on the edge of the known world for the tea plant, and if it's doing all sorts of really interesting things on that edge, right, the edge of the known world for the tea plant, then basically what you're looking at is you're looking at a tea that is going to have some really interesting things going on. Now, it doesn't have to be high elevation. It can also be bug bites. So think about it this way, right? You got a bug bite. Bug bite stresses out the plants, the plant does stuff, and then the plant creates things with the bug bites for us to have a really interesting flavor. Completely different than the high mountain, but it's the same idea, right? Also, too, in general, people with a stressed out upbringing usually are the ones who become uh, the unique humans or the big humans, either in a good way or a bad way. But usually that's the way it is. I mean, just think about uh, in history, the mountain peoples, right? So they were usually the ones that were no, it's a value. I'm not going to go there. Anyways, if I was a historian, I could come up with these things. I'm just a guy who likes teas. Point is, with the tea, the more stressed out it is, the more unique the flavor profile is going to be. Think about snow pick teas, right? That's the most unique flavor profile for teas in general. And that's when the tea is the most stressed. So what makes Pear Mountain taste so good, and it is so good, is because it is right on the edge, like literally right on the edge. You got 2,000 meters above sea level, then you go down a couple hundred meters, sometimes right around there. But usually with these gardens, whatever they say is the highest place for the garden is not the highest place for the garden. Is most of the garden is the lowest. So the way it works, it's like this, right? So up here might be 2,000 meters. The bottom of the garden might be maybe 1,700 meters. It might be 300 meters in between. And that's sort of the area. And the best teas are the ones that are from those areas, started about 2,000, a little bit more. And then they go down the mountain, well taken care of, clean gardens like this. Now, I was going to go in and do sort of a flyby and show you what's going on, but for some reason, the YouTube is not. I can't really see what's going on. Although people, thankfully, have told me that they can see me in the YouTube. But what's going to go on? Maybe I'll do that some other time, or I'm hoping for the fall, maybe in August, I can actually go up there. That's what I'm hoping. But like I said, with the earthquakes and the quality of or not the quality of the roads, the condition of the roads. The roads are great, but not after a big old earthquake. It needs like a typhoon to get all the rocks away and then to build it up again. Here in Hualien, it's been a stressful spring. Maybe that's why I'm growing the beard, to give the gravitas of the situation, the gravity of the situation. It's been a stressful spring. It's been a stressful 6 weeks, I'll tell you. Earthquakes and all that. So that's basically what we're looking at for that. Now, let's get into the teas, and then I'll talk a little bit more about sort of the terroir and the way the terroir works. I don't know if you can sort of see what's going on right now or sort of feel it, but right now we're just getting into spring. And actually, I'm going to show you. I'm going to pick up the phone right here. I'm just going to show you. So you have to see on the Instagram if you're watching on the YouTube. So you can see there's the big old camphor tree, and it is gorgeous. It's so beautiful. It's just the right amount of wind, and it's just one of those beautiful springtime. And that's in the back of the aftertaste. Now, there were 3 teas that I had that I was sent. The 7th, the 8th, and the 11th. And the 7th just wasn't there. It's still good tea, right? I'm not saying it's a bad tea, but the 7th, after having these 2 teas, it was very easy for me to just push. Right? So the 7th, I just pushed it. And okay, so the 7th, I just pushed. I was like, okay, that's not it. I've got these options. And the 7th was a little bit too vegetal. Then I started getting into these teas, and I was sitting there drinking the teas with my wife. Now, it's pretty funny because my wife, she's not a tea person, right? So she likes to boil teas and add milk and sugar to them. Oh, But because she's been around me and I'm passionate about the teas and things like that, she's become, along with my children, like if I'm not sure about something, then I'll pass it around my family. I'll be like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think? And the people in my family um, will actually help out with this type of. Anyways, it's pretty funny the way we pull that off. But uh, she said with these two teas, she said they're basically the same. They're both good. You can get them. And I have to pick between one of them. Now, I don't actually know which is which, right? So one of these is the 8th, one of these is the 11th. And they're relatively similar. One of them is a little bit more oxidized. One of them is a little bit less oxidized. One of them is stronger, and so in the background, especially in the further steeps, you're getting a touch more astringency, but the floral is much stronger and it's much sweeter. And then the other one is lighter, so it's got more flowing characteristics. There's no real bitterness or astringency to speak of at all. And so now that I've talked about what my biases are for these teas, what I have to choose, that's what I'm hoping for. And I really care too. Like, what happened when I was putting out there, but somebody says, "Oh, you're screwing us over. You're only giving us da da da. How many grams of tea?" And da da. Like that bothers me a lot, obviously. And so I like these two teas are basically exactly the same. Hey, somebody just bought some tea. Thank you, Mr. K. And if you're watching right now, do you want the June box or the May box? So anyways, that'll send me an email if you're watching right now somewhere. Anyways, I think it's this one. And I think this is the lighter one because the aftertaste of this is so juicy, is so thick. So I think this one was this is the 8th. I was going to say it was the 8th, but this is the 8th. So I think I'm going to get this one. And the reason I'm going to get this one, because there's a lot of teas out there that have the floral. The high elevation stuff, there's a lot of them that have like a beautiful floral, like a punchy, beautiful floral. And while I do really enjoy the sort of the Pear Mountain florals as they come out, what I really appreciate and what I love the most is the aftertaste. The lingering, sweet, orange, chewy, like it literally, to me anyways, I can literally like chew on it. I can taste it, that aftertaste. And if I'm going to sort of pick and choose between the various teas, like these two teas, this one's a little bit more on the floral side. This one's got more of that beautiful aftertaste. I think I'm going to choose that one. Oh. Now, when you're drinking these teas and you're drinking a tea that claims to be a clean tea, one of the tells is this. Now, here we go. You ready? Hopefully, you guys can see this. So here we go. Here's the pick. You can see here, this is a pretty standard springtime pick, a little small, but you can see here is the sort of the thick stem. It's been picked with a blade. You can tell it's been picked by a blade because sort of these fibers come off, picked with a blade. Then you get this part, which is when it warms up, that just shoots out like that. And then when I look at the leaf, I can see these holes in the leaf. Now, hopefully, yeah, you should be able to see them. They should pop out. Let's see. Here we go. Can you see you can see the holes in the leaf. Can you see the holes in the leaf there? And it should pop right through and see them in the sun. Now, when you're looking at a garden that says they're a clean garden, if you go through all of the leaves and you do not find any bug bites whatsoever, you got to be a little suspicious. you got to be a little suspicious. You got to think about it a little bit. Now, if it's just the tips, don't worry about it, right? You can't really see the bug bites in just the tips of the teas. But if you're getting a tea that is that's got, a pick like this, forgive my fingers, I'm only drinking this, it's okay. If you're getting something like this that's going to have like big leaves and things going through it like this, then you should see bug bites at some point in your brew, right? You should see bug bites. And so what I've been seeing here a lot is the bug bites. Now there's the bug bitten, and thankfully it's not too many. Notice this year there's a lot of bug bites out there though. Like this particular bug bite is from a thrip, and thankfully it's not enough that is gonna, let's see, can you see that? Kind of. It's not enough that it's gonna really affect the taste of the tea. Wyndon, if you get a chance, can you give a short summary of charcoal roast versus electric? That's a great one. I never know you could see the bites in the finished product. Absolutely. Yes, you can. When it is a high quality, high mountain ball rolled oolong or mid level, sometimes even lower levels for sure. Green teas, greenish oolongs, you can see white teas, you can see the bug bites. For the black teas, it's tougher, right? It's much, much tougher for the black teas to see the bug bites. Yeah, I think I'm going to get this, the 8th. Black teas, charcoal roasted teas, much, much harder because they're manipulated more. But and the aftertaste of this is more floral, less of the fruit, but so chewy, so lingering, so just so good. Anyways, yes, I can. That's a great. Actually, why don't I do that? Maybe I'll do that next week. So the difference between the charcoal roast and the electric roast, and I can use the Old Master Dong Ding and the Dragon's Eye, put them side by side and drink those, and start the live stream really, really early so I don't sweat. I mean, part of the reason why I have the beard is you can't see how much I sweat when I'm drinking the teas on my back porch in Taiwan and in May and June. But I will. That's a great. I'll do a quick one right now. The biggest difference between the charcoal roast and the electric roast is body feel and clarity of flavor. Charcoal roast has better body feel, less clarity of flavor. Electric roast has precise clarity of flavor, but less of a body feel. And that's the easiest way to describe the two, sort of like your baseline. You drink a charcoal roasted tea, a good one, it's going to warm you up. It's going to give you a smooth, it's going to radiate out from your center. The taste oftentimes is not quite as good as the electric roast in the sense of just baseline good, although the really good ones can be, especially aged a couple of years. And you're going to get more of a meld in your mouth, more of a smooth, wide, meldy flavor. The electric roasts, on the other hand, are the good ones, are just this, like just a punch of specific, clear, beautiful flavors, right? Specifically the Old Master Dong Ding. You're looking at that tea, you're looking at the most amazing, roast, toasty, sort of can be some bread in there. Then you get to sort of a sweetness to it, and then you get to the other flavors all through there, and then mixed around there is also sort of the sort of the greenish nature of the oolong itself. And so that's sort of the short answer to that question. But that's such an awesome question, and I should do that. I should turn it into like a YouTube video and do all of that. But hey, there's a bee. That is a Taiwan bee. I don't know. Does anybody have interest in beekeeping? I raise bees, and so I've been really thinking about going and doing some like a live stream by my bees and showing you the hives and things like that. But then I was like, that's kind of masturbatory, that's kind of like, who's this guy? I'm here for tea. Why is he showing off his bees? But anyways, that was a Taiwan bee, which is a different species than the Italian bees that most people raise in Taiwan. That I have. I've got Italian bees. Next, 2 questions. There was one about the Pear Mountain terroir, and I feel bad because I was. It would be very interesting to see Taiwan bees. So the ones that I have are not actually Taiwan bees. JI. Uh, um, it's they're Italians, but actually they're from 30 seconds. I apologize if you guys don't like bees. They're Italian bees, but they're actually from the Japanese era, and so Jose. Well, nice to meet you. Um, they are they're Italian bees, but they're actually from the Japanese era. So they've intermixed with the Taiwanese bees, and so they're like the Taiwanese bees themselves are smaller, but they're really they have a really good disposition. And so these are Italian bees without stinging the crap out of you. And so I actually have them at one of my son's schools. And so I'll you can take them out. You don't have to wear protection or anything. You can take them out and teach them about the bees. And they can get the drones. You can reach right in and take out a drone, and they can play with the drones. And anyways, so that's what I do with the bees. Without bees, we would all go extinct. Yes, absolutely. Bees, please. Okay, well maybe I'll do a big warning and say, okay, I'll do the bees. But it's kind of, but as somebody who creates stuff, I wouldn't call myself a creator. I just have fun. If you have a passion about something, people usually like to listen people like to listen to that. People like to listen to people with a passion. And so I got a passion about bees, I'll tell you what. I absolutely love them. Bees with no smoke. Yes, I use, sometimes I don't use smoke, but generally speaking, I do use smoke. And depends on whether there's kids around. If there's kids around, then yes, I do use smoke. But I can do it with no smoke. But that's like Mission Impossible. The music goes on, and I'm like, like that. But generally speaking, they are very, very well-natured bees. So yeah, I can do that. Anyways, where were we? Oh, there was another question. The question that was somebody sent me was, what are the new teas? And this is a great question. It's a great question. It's a wonderful question. It's an important question. And it's also a question that I feel bad about because where do I find new teas and how do I find new teas? Well, the truth is, the way I find really interesting in new teas is by accident. And I wander around tea growing areas and I find things that are unique and new and just weird. And I was going to say trapped, but that's not fair. It's a choice. And it's respect for my family. But I haven't been able to travel this spring season because there was the earthquake. And so my wife and my boys, they're like, one of my boys says, you better stay here. My wife says, you better stay here. My other boy says, I don't care if you go. But if you stay, it's probably okay. Right. So I've been stuck here. Now, thankfully, the earthquakes have sort of stopped. I'm hoping next Tuesday I can go up to get lots of really good baozong. That's what I'm hoping for. So on Tuesday, I'm hoping to get a bunch of really good baozong and go up and do the baozong trip. But that question, what are the new teas? What kind of new teas you bringing us? It struck home because that's kind of my thing. I really, really enjoy it. I'm not the guy who's like, here's some more Four Seasons oolong. I'm the guy who goes out and gets really interesting teas. And I'm hoping that for the rest of this month, I can do that. I'm hoping that for the rest of this month, I can do that. But just to give you an example of how, there's also, I want to stay with my family, but to get out of here, if I'm going to drive, to get out of here, the highway from Hualien up to Taipei, like to go north, it's only open from 7 a.m. till 8 a.m., 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's the only time the highway is open because of all the damage during the earthquake. Just to give you um, that. What happened to the snow mist garden? Nothing. Yeah, those teas are out there. They're ready to go, and they're really, really, really tasty. Coco, was there something that you did you did you hear something or something about the snow mist garden? The teas are out there and ready to go. They are live, and soon people will be enjoying them. I didn't go to Snow Mist this year because of just basically what I talked about. I have basically an open invitation up there, and this year I just couldn't go, and I sent them a nice message, and but this year I just couldn't do it, unfortunately, or fortunately, because my family thinks I'm that important. All right. Although I think they're getting a little worried because now that my business is in my house, they call me Zai Zai, and Zai Zai means, well, anyways, Zainan means house boy, or the equivalent of one of the herbivores in the Japanese, one of the guys who never leaves their house. And so now they call me Zai Zai because I love not having to leave the house. But that's what they call me. I looked on your site and couldn't find it. Really? Well, that's kind of weird. Well, I have the internet right here. Why don't I just jump in and see what happens? And does anybody else have any questions about anything? I just searched for snow mist and it popped up. 2024 pick in stock. So yeah, so that's it's up there. So it should be a while ago. Okay. Well, it was released on Sunday. It was released on Sunday. And what was I going to say? Just to go back to the fact that I haven't gotten new teas yet, because new teas are one of those things you go to a place and you walk in and you're like, you meet somebody and you go, hey, how's it going? You get a certain level of respect and a certain level of rapport. I'm not losing all my English. I guess that's kind of a French word, but French. Timothy, I'll answer that question in a second. And then you go, they're like, oh, this is our famous tea, and you drink it, and you're like, okay, yeah, it's another Dongding Oolong, or it's another, like whatever. And then you sort of lean over and you go, what else you got? And then they sort of go, what do you mean? And I go, you got anything special? And then I rattle off, like a T-ball or like a something special. And they're like, well, we did experiment with this. And then they'll usually bring out something that'll just blow your mind. And you can't phone them up and go, give me that. Give me the specialties. You just can't do that. And so that's what I have to do. I got to go to Alishan, and I've got to go to various other places, and I got to go do that. I really, really do. And that's something that I have to do very soon. And I'm hoping I can do it maybe the end of this month. But so to answer the question, what are some new teas that are going to be coming out? I don't know yet. I apologize that I don't have them yet. But I'm going to work and try and get them. So there's a question coming in from YouTube. Where can we get a Mountain Stream t-shirt? So I used to sell the Mountain Stream t-shirts, but it wasn't me. So what you're looking at when you're looking at the any t-shirt that you're going to buy online, unless you're like it's a really specific place, there are basically drop shipping. So basically what that means is you order a t-shirt from somewhere and then a third party prints it up and sends it. And so I had the t-shirts. I set up this whole thing on the site, set up the t-shirts. And then but I did the wrong thing. I put it on the thing because you just do it. It's like drop, click, and then I stick it on there, and it was like the wrong place. on the T-shirt. And so a couple of people bought the T-shirts, and there was like an S missing and things like that. And I was so embarrassed that I think I just refunded them, and then I just refunded them, and then I took them off the site. So, so if you really want a Mountain Stream T-shirt, what I should do is actually I should go in and do it again, because they make and ship these T-shirts like fresh all over the world. It's pretty amazing technology, actually. I can't remember the name of what it was called, but anyways, it's pretty amazing technology. But if you want, I can just send you like the PNG or the picture of the logo, and you could probably just do it yourself cheaper. So anybody who's at this point still watching the stream and you would like to make yourself a Mountain Stream Tees T-shirt, just let me know. I can send you the logo, and you can go on one of these places and just do it yourself. It's actually be cheaper than sort of me doing it. But yeah, I won't do that whole spiel. But anyways, there's a reason why I wear the T-shirts all the time. And not really advertisement, but I think people just think I'm weird. People just think I'm weird, and it's been going on for so long. It's just like, but I do like the T-shirts, and I should have them. I should have more of the T-shirts out. I absolutely should. I should get on that and do that. I just haven't for a while, and there's no excuse for that. Other than I was embarrassed I did it the wrong way before, and so I should get my digested food together and do it again. Oh, why don't I write it down? I will write it down. So those were the two big questions that people were asking. So, and about the terroir, and I didn't do a very good job covering it. Hopefully I can do sort of a Google Maps zoom in of the area some other time. But when you're looking at the area that's sort of called Pear Mountain, it's actually pretty big. And there's different sort of sub areas. Like I said, there's the Fushoshan area. Oh, that reminds me, there's that Fushoshan really expensive tea garden. That Fushoshan really, it's like a little bit down the road from actual Fushoshan. And it's a really expensive tea, and it's really beautiful. And I should just get some in because it's a really nice tea. And sort of the top of the line. But it's like this is expensive tea, but that's like crazy expensive tea. But I should do it. I should do it for sure. And yeah. Tell them about the pears. I was there when the foil was on them. Oh, okay. So what's really interesting is, so Pear Mountain gets its name because they grew a bunch of pears. And they still grow a bunch of pears in different areas of Pear Mountain. But why tea became a thing there was because the monkeys really loved the pears. Now, what are the pears? They're the big Asian pears. They're about this big. They look like a huge muscly apple. And they are, if you get them fresh, they're just amazing. And I'm sure they keep pretty well. So you could probably get them in sort of the West if they're sort of fresh off the boat. They're not too bad. But they're amazing, and they're sweet and juicy, and they grow them to make sure that the bugs don't get them. They actually wrap them in bags, and that's really quite good. I'm glad they wrap them in bags so they don't have to spray all over the place. But what's really interesting, what I find really fascinating, is one of the times, especially this happened at more than one garden that I buy tea from. What happens with them is a lot of the time, so the mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, that's when a lot of these teas were planted in the higher elevations. And one of the reasons they did was because the monkeys were eating all the pears. So before, back in the day, you know, so again, to even go back into history, a lot of the farms up there were actually given to Chiang Kai-shek soldiers. So the soldiers from Chiang Kai-shek, they gave them a piece of land up in the mountains, and they went up there, and they were just far away from everybody. Here's a cliff, and then they would plant some stuff on the cliff and just barely make out survival. So they all kind of had guns, and they knew how to use guns. And so back when those guys were, the monkeys came for their pears, boom, 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 a lot of dead monkeys. And then in the 80s and 90s, the next generation started taking over, and they couldn't really shoot the guns. There was more people around. They couldn't shoot the guns. And so the monkeys would come and eat the pears. They're like, what the hell do we do now? The monkeys are eating all of our pears. And so they planted tea because the monkeys don't care about tea. And so that's where a lot of these places, that's when they switched over to tea. And that's why they switched over to tea. And so when you're looking at Pear Mountain, why it's called Pear Mountain is because the pears were there before. Now there's not too many pears. Now there's pears where there is settlements, but where the really good tea grows is all out, like an hour and a half drive that only goes 15 kilometers out from the main sort of like little outpost towny things up in the mountains. And you go through these roads and you're going like this. Then you make it to these tracks and you go walk down to these beautiful tea gardens. And they used to be pears, right? And so that's the story of sort of Pear Mountain, why there's the tea on those areas of Pear Mountain. And there's still some places where, like around this garden, they still have, they don't have pears, but they've got some apples and they've got some persimmons. And sometimes if I'm lucky, if I buy enough tea, then they'll send me a box of some of the neighbor's fruit. Well, it depends on whether the neighbor is making enough money or not. Because, they keep track of each other and they support each other. But that's sort of the story about the sort of those orchards and why there's tea in those orchards now. And anyways, but any other questions? I have a couple orders from very amazing people. And if anybody, there's a couple people that sent an order in the last couple days, or actually the last 24 hours since the last time I sent out everybody's tea. That ordered a subscription box. So if you're listening, if you're out there listening, then you send me an email. I'm going to send everybody an email right as soon as I finish this. Do you want to start with I think I have 3 or 4 boxes left of this month of the May, or do you want to start with the June? So just let me know if you are out there listening. I'm going to send those emails, but it would save us an email conversation there. And yeah, last call for questions or anything. Again, coming down to these 2 teas, and now I'm drinking this one, and I'm like, maybe I'll go for the 11th. The truth of the matter is, the only real difference between these teas is if you stick them side by side. They are both beautiful, amazing, spectacular teas. They are slightly different. So for this one, the first couple steeps are better. For this one, the last couple steeps are better. Again, the only way you'd know is if you put them side by side. But okay, I'm going to do a last test. I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to put boiling water on them and I'm going to let them sit. I'm going to do a last test before I make the big gambling. I like the tea a bit cool. What temp do you drink it at? I drink the tea at every single possible. I like the tea at every single possible temperature. And I like the tea at every single possible temperature because I love evaluating them and coming up with ideas and pushing them and doing all those. So I drink them at every single temperature. If I was going to drink them just for fuel, right? So, for example, if I got to write a bunch of stuff on the computer, got to work, and I put the tea in like a big glass carafe or something like that. Put in 5 grams, and then I add hot water to it. I like it a little bit cooler than boiling, right? So that I can take big gulps of it. But overall, I really like the tea super hot, but I definitely like the tea all the way through. Right? I absolutely like the tea all the way through. Uh, but I guess it depends what I'm doing. uh, uh, yes, yeah. Okay, so there we go. That's it for now. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pack up some teas, and thank you for watching. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, just let me know. I certainly hope wherever in the world you are, you're having an amazing morning, night, evening, all of that stuff, wherever you are. I'm going to try really hard not to overthink this, the choice that I've got right here. But thank you for watching. And yeah, see you next live stream.